Oh,
Rough day?
you have no idea.
Let's talk about it.
Being a woman has its advantages, but it's not an easy ride. Balancing careers, relationships, motherhood, family, and life can be quite the challenge. Sometimes you have to be a lady, and sometimes you gotta be a broad. Welcome to the Two Broads from Boca, the place where we talk about all the things you think about but don't say out loud.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Two Broads from Boca. I'm Amy Schreiber, and this is my lovely co-host.
Lorianne Gary, happy Monday.
And we are live, coming to you from the lovely Boca Raton, Florida. We have a lot of fun going on this evening. I'm very excited. We have Dr. Mike from Survivor on. I'm so starstruck. It's a little exciting to meet somebody that's been on TV. That's all I could say.
Especially someone who has survivor skills.
Yes,
Because
survivor
I so
skills.
do not.
Survivor skills. My hair looks very bad again, but it's okay. But I did get a haircut, everyone, if you didn't notice. It looked really nice until it got
Does
hot.
it? I like
No,
the
it's a
new
little-
do.
I do too, because it was too
It's a
long.
really good length
And
for
quite
you.
frankly, I was a little tired of hearing her complain about my hair. So there we go.
Still on the wrong side of
Yes,
the face.
but I like it here. I like the part here.
No, I like
so.
that length on you. It looks
Yeah, I
really
do too.
good.
I look a little like I could
Makes
be
you
a
look
nurse.
younger.
I could be like a provocative librarian. I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, if you had the glasses.
But next
Wear
time,
the glasses
they're
next
actually
time.
they're in my school bag at home, but that's another story. But anyway, Florida, down here, South Florida, had a little rough week this week, and we feel compelled to just mention that our hearts and our prayers are with the people of Parkland and every school, every mother, every father, every child. It's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, I feel like everybody's like, we're still in like a fog,
Yeah.
like a cloud. And,
And it was a
walking
rough week.
around,
It's just, there was incidents the day after the shootings at Stoneman Douglas around schools in the area. So it was very, very difficult for the kids, very, very difficult for parents. So I think that it's time, although there's always room for thoughts and prayers, it's time for change and policy. So I think that do something constructive. Don't play the blame game or the political game. I think that's
Right.
where we feel very strongly about that. And again, this is our opinion, but we feel if you want to do something, then do something constructive.
Yeah, push for change.
Push for change. Don't blame. There was many things that could have gone better in this situation, and it didn't. So I think that the fact that we have to look at policies across the board.
And also, more importantly, as myself being a parent, the first thing I did was have a conversation with my two teenagers.
Absolutely.
So, it was obviously weighing heavy on their minds about their school, even though they weren't at that school, but they are in high school. My daughter's going to high school next year. So I think as parents, you have to have those conversations so that they are comfortable going to school and just have a plan on what they should do. I was very encouraged today. My son came home from school and said that his high school actually are having these discussions in big forums with exact policies that they're giving them warning that starting the next school year, these are going to be the policies. For example, everyone is going to have to wear a lanyard showing that you belong on campus, which a lot of schools do, but his doesn't right at the time. And also possibly going to some kind of uniform in the public school that everyone can identify that they have that shirt, they belong in that campus. Because now
I think this is going to be a long next year. There's going to be a lot of trial and error, and I think we have to be patient.
But I like the fact that they're starting on it immediately.
Yeah. No, and I think that's good instead of waiting.
Right.
Nancy's watching. My friend Rain is watching. I will tell. I want you to know this one viewer that we have tonight. Her name is Nancy. She is a survivor expert. I'm looking at documents.
She's going to have lots of
She's gonna
questions.
have a lot of questions for you.
I
But-
do want to mention and I don't want to belabor on the subject
No.
of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, but this Sunday, February 25th, Frank and Dino's restaurant in Boca Raton is offering food and drinks from 2 to 9 p.m. and all the proceeds and donations they make that evening will go towards the victims and their families,
That's
which
wonderful.
I think is wonderful.
That's a beautiful
So,
thing.
head
So
out
come.
there, stop by, and everybody does their part.
I love that.
And, yeah.
And you know what? Make your phone calls, write your letters. Make sure they hear you, particularly down here in this district in Florida. Make sure they hear you. One phone call is not enough. Be a pest. Be annoying. It's time for us to make the change because nobody else is going to do it. And women, we are 53% of the vote. So get out there and do your thing because they're going to listen. So let's move on.
So also coming up this weekend, I want to talk about the Concord de Elegance in Boca, which is very near and dear to my heart.
Very
My
much so.
husband's very involved since the onset and sits on the board. And it is this weekend. Friday night is the DuPont hangar party at the Boca Executive Airport, which is fantastic. If you love jets, cars, incredible food from area restaurants.
Or men who
that's
own
the
them.
event for you.
That's the place.
Single
to go.
ladies.
Yes.
And Saturday night is the gala at the Boca Raton Resort and Club. And this year we have Tim Allen as the
Oh, I
entertainment.
love him.
Love him. He's really
Full time,
funny.
Tim.
Funny.
Hook him up to come on the
And
road.
Sunday is the actual Concord car show, which is also at the Boca Raton Resort and Club, and they do it right there on the driving range. And
how does
there
one
is a
get tickets for
brunch
these?
with Jay Leno and Tim Allen on Sunday. You
I
can
like
get your
Tim
tickets
Allen.
for that. Really nice, up close and personal brunch with them. I did the brunch last year with Jay Leno, and it was really amazing.
I don't care for
Fantastic guy, Karna. Oh, he's so nice.
I don't know.
So nice.
I'm still taking over the Tonight Show. Still got issues with that. But I do enjoy Tim Allen.
Yes,
I like him. See if you can hook him up to come on the boards.
I already asked.
And?
No.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame, Tim Allen.
I was all over it.
And I like Buzz Lightyear myself. He was Buzz Lightyear. Did you
Doesn't
know?
mean we can't keep trying.
Well, I won't. Now I won't talk to you, Tim.
No, he's very busy while he's here. So and
No,
then he's
no,
out.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. No, I don't mean now. Next time.
Okay.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Working on
You're
it.
going to be surprised it's coming on the boards. But other than that,
But it's a great weekend. Come out. The weather is, knock on wood, been beautiful every year, and
we were at this car thing in the Royal Palm Plaza yesterday.
I don't know.
There was the British cars only.
Oh,
It was
okay.
British cars. It was
There's always something going
very
on.
interesting. I might say. It was very interesting. I'm not I just like driving in a car. I don't know anything about them.
Oh, I
they
love
were
cars.
so pretty.
Love cars.
So
So I was
pretty.
very out of my element Saturday night at the cowboy ball. To get me in cowboy hat and boots was very interesting, but I did it for the George
she
Snow.
goes to a lot of things. I don't
I
understand.
told you every
Yeah, no.
weekend. It's
We
all
were in
right.
Miami this weekend. If you guys want to have a cute, fun time, we went to Espanola Way and we went to a restaurant called Boteca. It was so good and so yummy, and there was Mardi Gras festivities going on. Very, very naked kind of women. I never had an ass like that in my whole life. Ever. Wasn't even born with an ass like that. And they were dancing around all in the costume. It was so much fun. We had a lot of fun. And I think this is the first time in 20 years that we got home like after 2 o'clock in the morning. Shocked.
Oh,
Yeah. It was awesome. I even drank. I had
Wow.
sangria. I was
Get
thinking about it
outta
the whole
here.
time. It's like, oh my God, this is awesome. It was drinking sangria, dancing with the girl. It was
Awesome.
hysterical. We had so much fun.
Oh,
It was
good.
a lot of fun. Even had the kids. Of course, my children were like, "You drank this evening. What's up with that?" I'm like, "I'm 400 years old. Can I have a drink?" I'm like, seriously, they were very upset that I had a drink. Meanwhile, the father had a drink. They didn't say a word. I had a drink.
What's that about?
And we don't drink in front of the children, I gather.
That you weren't in front of them.
Well, yeah, no, they were there. Kept them out too. Dirty
Oh.
stay-outs. Hello,
Parenting.
Vicky. You're watching, and Peter's watching. He's always watching you. So hi, Blake, and hi, Josh. Those are our lovely lovely engineers. You have to see Blake. He's very cute. Josh, you're too young. I can't say bad things about you, but Blake can handle it. Because if I say bad things, I'll go to jail. But I don't go to jail with him.
Yeah, with your pedophile
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah, not me and my pedophile ways. That is not even funny to joke about. That was just a joke, people. So
All right.
we're good. We're getting Dr. Mike's getting ready. He's in the control room right in front of us, getting ready. And we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Dr. Mike.
Hey, the two broads from Boca are taking a short break. We hope you're enjoying the show. You can find them here live on Facebook every Monday night at 7 p.m. And if you can't watch, you can hear the two broads on SoundCloud.com. You can also follow the two broads from Boca on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Want to talk about a topic? Leave the two broads your comments on their Facebook page or contact them at 2TWO broadsfromboca@gmail.com. Let's rejoin the two broads from Boca and let's talk about it.
Welcome back, everybody. And we're
back.
here with Survivor, Dr. Mike.
Dr. Mike, it's so. Can I touch you? 'Cause like this is so
Yeah.
cool. So excited.
When I tell people that
He's
I only
right.
give autographs on body parts.
All right, later, Mike.
Again,
we don't
that
want to.
doesn't apply to you two over there.
No, I have so many thousands of questions to ask you. Okay, here she comes. Oh, Mike, have you been approached for All Stars? Do you think if you could you wait a minute?
Yeah,
Let me ask the
let's
question.
calm it down. Let's get
Just
started.
wait
I want
one
to know. I want to know the history first of all. Were you like one of those guys that felt like, hey, I could survive in the jungle anywhere or whatever? I mean, did you have those skills as a man, or were you a fan and you're like, hey, I can do it? I mean, what was your thought
I don't
process?
think you need the skills as a man to survive in the jungle. But are you saying that I don't look manly enough?
Dude,
to
I
survive
would
in the
have
jungle?
never
I
picked
was not
you
implying that.
I
didn't know.
was.
Maybe he was a
I am.
Boy Scout,
No,
and he's
you
like,
look
hey,
like a
I
Boy
got
Scout.
the.
No, you look like a typical surgeon doctor, you know, like and a nice Jewish boy. I would have never thought that
Yeah, I mean,
you
look
would
at,
go.
look at his hands. I
Yeah,
mean,
they're
these
clean,
are
they're
yeah,
like
they're
a
too
baby's
clean.
bottom. Let me just say that.
I try.
No,
I
but
try.
they're
But you know what?
It's because you wash
Out in
them.
the island, if you you get all moist because you're. I know girls don't like that word.
Yeah.
I enjoy
Moist.
that word
But
I don't
actually.
like
I
moist.
like
But
moist.
you get because like it's
I
self
enjoy it.
moisturizing because you're not using soap. You're exfoliating every day with
With sand.
And it's,
Yeah, but don't you
like,
smell?
That's what I was just gonna say. Didn't you
You-
stink?
the answer is sometimes. But you go into the water and you do the sand
Sand.
scrub multiple times a day, and you don't really smell. so
I
much
think the
after.
girls. You're.
Well, I think
Dr.
they
Mike's a
don't notice it
urologist.
because they all smell.
So he knows about reproductive organs. That hoochie thing had a stink. I think they're
Oh,
sweating and
you had
sweaty
to go
hooch.
there?
Yeah,
I
come
don't
on.
know. I don't know. I
Come on, you were
I wouldn't
sleeping
know.
next to these women. They had a stink.
Do you want me to tell you a funny story about that?
I do.
Yes.
Okay, so I've told the story like one other time, but so a couple of the girls post merge. One of the girls named Ashley and Desi.
Yes.
Ashley's sitting there. It's like by the fire one night. It's like, Mike, could you do me a favor? I want to burn some of my stray hairs that are growing off in the fire. So could you just come here and sit and watch my crotch?
Oh shit.
And I'm like,
Oh,
no. I'm not gonna come and just and stare at your vagina. Right?
Oh
Like,
my God.
While the cameras are filming this. Yes, they said I was a sex doctor, but I'm not gonna do that.
No.
Like, it's gonna. I'm like,
Put
I'll
your
go over there.
vajayjay away.
Right, like I'm gonna go over there, like 10 feet away, 20 feet away, look a different direction. But if you guys set anything on fire, you call my name. and
Exactly. I'll come
help.
help. Oh my
Right.
God. That's
Well, I'm
odd.
sure your wife was watching too, so I don't think she'd
She's so
exactly
adorable.
She,
appreciate that.
you know what? She told me anything goes. Come home with $1 million.
All
You were
right.
close. You were so close. I have so
so
many
close.
questions to ask you. First of all, what made you decide to do this?
Right. That was my
Being in
question.
a comfortable urology practice, living in Parkland. Why?
I mean, I always wanted to do it. Like, literally, like when we go into the shower. When I go into the shower, and I'm watching, my mind's always wandering, right? And so my mind always wanders to the what am I going to say for my Survivor audition video?
Really?
And I had never made one. And finally, I said to my wife, and I always said to my wife, actually, if I ever applied to Survivor, I would get on there and I would lose. I would become like second or third, but I wouldn't be able to win. And she's like, whatever. Like, I come up with all these stupid cockamamie things all day long.
The coconuts.
And so finally, I came out of the shower one day. I was like, I have it. I can make this video and I will win. I feel like I can win Survivor now. she laughed at me. She's like, "There's no way you would win Survivor."
Dude, you
Like,
came close.
And
man.
I went to work the next day. My scribe made a video, and I sent it in. It literally took less than 10 minutes.
Are you
Sent in the
serious?
video, and they called me 9 months later.
Wow.
So forgot about it. My wife says I never even told her.
Oh
I
my
think I might have mentioned
God.
it. She, like, just ignored
I
me
will
like
tell
that.
you, Dr. Mike is no crazy guy. He went to Brown undergraduate and Brown medical school. He is extremely smart. Personally, I think you're adorable too, because I just like the look. I married a guy that kind of resembles you a little bit, except he's taller, so I like the whole look that you got going on.
So did you go in with a strategy?
You were,
Did you
yeah.
go in
Did you
thinking,
have?
like,
You were like the.
This is how I'm gonna do it.
First of all, when you were on the boat originally, and when you said I'm a sex doc, like
Uh-huh.
everybody's jaw just went, on the ship.
Sure, and it's. I mean,
And you
that
did
was
that for
part of the
shock
plan.
value.
Exactly. I mean, I know I have good stories. I know I can tell a good story,
Right.
and I felt like I'm the older guy that needs to relate to these young kids.
Right.
And what's more relatable
Sex,
than
honey.
people wanting to talk about sex?
There you go.
And so I felt like it would be good. Now I'll tell you that I knew I was on the bottom of my tribe immediately because for the first literally 9 days, nobody asked me about what I do.
Right.
Imagine you tell somebody you're a sex doctor,
And nobody
you
talks
get to the
about it.
beach and nobody asks you.
I know.
You're like, I am so going home.
Well, no, but I
Yeah.
didn't see that at all. I found it interesting because I think you played a very good physical game. You were very focused and very conscious, but you really played a very good wit game. I really thought that you had a
Thanks.
very good wit game. You were like, you kind of went under the radar, but you didn't make enemies. You had your friends. You had your alliances. You and Joe got along very well. Do you talk to him anymore?
Yeah, I mean, I'm friendly with Joe.
Okay.
At this point, I don't
Okay.
think we. Yeah, we talk.
Yeah, you
We're-
kind of bounced off each other though, on the show, during your Survivor
Yeah,
thing.
I mean, the reality is Joe and I get each other.
Right.
At the end of the day, we're both dads. What I didn't anticipate, because I tried to anticipate everything going
Right.
in, but what I didn't anticipate, I anticipate people coming out there to play Survivor.
Oh my God, they were terrible. No ethics or morals, and I love that you said that. I love that you said that.
But what I didn't anticipate is people wanting to be supervillains. And I feel like Joe at the very beginning was not playing Survivor. He just wanted more airtime.
Right, attention.
And so he was acting like the supervillain and going crazy on me. And I was like, you're trying to process, why is somebody doing this? Like, why is somebody getting in your face within the first 15 minutes of the
I
game?
just think he was crazy.
And it's, but he wasn't crazy.
No, I know.
He had realized,
acting
but
crazy.
I thought he was, right, at the
Right.
time. It's like, this guy's just crazy. Is he going to hit me?
Right.
Like, does he get thrown out if he hits me? And I wasn't sure. And it's like, you don't know how much you want to goad somebody into hitting you. But I realize now that it was that
he was just
wanted
playing that
to
game.
play the game.
Right. When you're there, and Jeff Probst is there, and with those dimples, so cute. When you're there, like
I didn't get aroused.
that's okay. I wouldn't. But when they're filming you, like how does that like? You're starving and you smell, and he's like all refreshed, and the crew is there. How does that? Do they just leave you? Do they tell you what to say? What is that like? God bless you.
Excuse me.
Bless
Am I
you. It's the
first
truth.
person to sneeze on camera? here?
No, not really.
Okay,
I
good.
burp. It's all right.
So, yeah, no, he doesn't tell you anything. He comes out.
It
It's
just
like
appears.
Do they find? They
it's
just
almost like
appear?
you have
For camera.
Stockholm syndrome, I think, right? Like people, he comes out and everything. Oh, I love Jeff Probst. I'll tell him everything. And it's like, you're like, I mean, it's not really Stockholm
No, I know what you're
syndrome, but, like,
saying.
It's like you become friends with the producers because they're the only ones you can be honest with.
Okay.
It's the only time you can let your guard down at all is when you go and talk to the camera for like 1 hour a day.
Okay.
And it's not like they're telling you anything or saying anything to you.
You just get to
They're
talk.
just-
It's like
You
confession.
can actually talk like
Yeah,
without
that's right.
being judged, right?
Mhm.
Like you can take a breath and know people aren't watching you for every second that you're of your being because walking to your confessional, you're alone.
Right.
You know? Well, you're not alone, but there are no cameras.
Right,
on
right,
you.
right.
So there's like this few minutes of just relaxation, which you really need out
Cherish.
there.
My question, other than yourself that you wanted to win, did you have somebody that you really felt you wanted to win in that crew?
Yeah, I really wanted Ashley to win. So Ashley was from Florida. Ashley, before I did my whole like I'm the Statue of Liberty
Right.
speech, Ashley had come up to me and said, "Listen, Mike, we're both from Florida. let's bring the money home to Florida.
There you go.
If I'm on the bottom, if I'm on the in the final three, vote for me. If you're in the final three, I'm gonna vote for you.
Right.
And the problem is that like I liked her. She came at me at a time of need. I really
Sure.
like felt connected with her at that point. I think she was actually just playing me because that was her game. I thought it was a great line, and I use that line all the time.
Sure.
I'm in the final three.
Yeah.
But I then realized that like I was like, wait a second, Ashley just said she'll vote for me.
Yeah.
So I needed to get her out.
Exactly. Exactly.
I needed
But
to vote on the jury.
They were the healers, the heroes, and the hustlers.
Yeah.
And I found it really funny that the healers work so well together. You know, being a nurse practitioner and seeing
Uh-huh.
that, and it was so funny to me. The hustlers just kept losing. I mean, they were just, you know, because they were hustling, and the heroes they held their own. Why do you think they wanted to break the healers up so much? Was it just because the majority, or because they felt threatened by you guys?
I think it was a majority because there were so many healers, and when you look at, and probably your fan expert can ask you, can answer this, but
dying here.
when you look at most three-tribe games, if one tribe dominates, that tribe always gets decimated. It's called pagonging, I think.
Okay.
Always gets decimated at the merge,
Okay.
and that's exactly what happened to us.
I
You
want to
guys-
say Nancy
Yeah.
is asking the question that Amy's been dying to ask. You could have won the million if you didn't throw the idol
Why did you do that?
Lauren gave you.
Why did I when I
We
saw
all
that I'm
wanna
like
know
I
why.
wanted to hit you. I wanted to come through the television and just slap you. I'm like he's got to have some kind of fever.
Well, here's the thing: is that Lauren had the other half of the idol.
Right.
Lauren was never giving that to me. I was never giving it back to her. So we were going to go back to camp. She was going to say, oh, give me back the idol. I'm going to say no, and we're going to get into a big fight. I'm going to say, give me the idol. She's going to say, no, we're going to get into a big fight.
Okay.
There was no good way to keep that
Okay.
idol around. So because of that, I felt like, you know, I just wanted to get rid of it. At the same time, everybody knew you had the idol at that point.
Right.
And so you become a target to everybody else. Plus, the jury is over there, and there's been a lot of the, you know, people talking about this, but the jury wants a show. They're literally at what place called Ponderosa, eating and drinking and waiting for the next tribal
Right.
council. So when they get there, they want you to like have flair.
Exactly.
And so by me throwing the idol into the fire, it was me basically saying, it might not be clear that I'm like running the show here, but I'm doing my own thing.
Exactly.
And I'm giving you the show you want.
if you were in the
to let
final
you
three,
know
I
that I'm
would
in the-
I
in
would have
the
voted
game.
you. I would totally voted you. I have to tell you, even Nancy saying it, and she's like the expert. She said, "Do you think it went into it?" If you went to the final four, you would have been able to beat Ben in the fire challenge. And were you, and are you aware you would probably have beaten Chrissy? Chrissy seemed very conniving, unlikable, and I didn't like her at all.
I mean, the reality is that it was the final five, and if you're watching this and you're one of the other people, I'm sorry, but the final five was really a competition to be who else could be in that final
Right.
three. Meaning, I don't think Chrissy or Ryan had a shot at winning,
No, I
And-
agree with you.
and it was
It was luck.
between the
It was
three of us.
it was the luck
And
of the draw. Underestimated.
They did not vote me out because they realized that I could beat them.
Right.
They voted me out because they thought Devin had a better chance of beating Ben
For the fire.
we didn't know about the fire,
Right.
but in a Final Four challenge.
Right.
And it was like, really? Like, of course I could beat Ben in a Final Four challenge. There was no way I would
Ben
beat
didn't,
Ben.
yeah.
But Ben would beat you, I would beat you, and Devin would definitely beat you two
Right.
in a Final Three. And I actually think they would have had the best shot against me, but they would have lost to me as well. I mean,
You were very good. I was very pleased with the way you did
I mean,
your
I
challenges.
really like Chrissy and I
I
really like
don't.
Ryan, but I mean, they're great people. All of them are great people on the outside, but it's I mean, playing the game,
Yeah, no.
they sort of boxed themselves into this corner.
Yeah. I didn't Ryan, to me, very nice person, I'm sure, but shocked that he got as far as he did. You know, shocked as
Well,
far.
you know what?
Because he really didn't do anything.
Ryan
He didn't
could-
outwit anybody. He didn't outplay anybody.
The first half of the game that nobody at the merge sees, it seems like he really played a good game. But Ryan played such an under the radar game that if he had gotten up there at that Final Three and said, look, why didn't you guys vote me out at 6? When Ashley's sitting there and saying, please let's just vote for Mike.
Right.
Why doesn't she even turn and say vote for Ryan? Because I mean, I would have voted for Ryan
Sure.
to save my own butt.
Of course.
She would have. Ben would have, and Ryan would have gone home. But you know why we didn't? She didn't do that because Ryan was playing such a good under the radar game. But you know what? Ryan didn't own his game. He was
No.
playing such a good under the radar game that he didn't even realize how good of a game he was playing. Like Ryan should have gotten up there and been like, "Guys, I'm not a bellhop." It's a question whether he was ever a bellhop.
Right.
Like I'm a lot. Like I've worked for the Democratic House. I've worked for the Republican House. I've worked for the British Embassy, and I'm going to law school because I was the salutatorian of my college class.
God.
And
He
you guys are
played-
idiots and never even realized that. And if he had said that, people would have been like, "Whoa, that's amazing."
Right.
But I think Ryan was so like health deprived.
Yeah. Oh my
that
God. His
literally
little heart was
he
beating
shut
in that. It
down,
was
and he
shut.
couldn't even think
Oh
correctly.
my God.
And if he was thinking, he would have done these other things and said these other things. I think all of us have things we could have or would have said.
Mm.
But Ryan, just stop. Like, you have no idea. Like, you don't, like, we're out there for days between, like, a reward challenge and an immunity challenge. There was always a 24-hour, like, a whole day.
Right.
So it's like, I mean, which basically means 36, 48 hours that there's
Sure.
nothing. And Ryan would just lay. Like, he couldn't move. He couldn't really do anything. He would just lay.
Poor thing.
Most of them would. I think that separated like the Ben and myself from a lot of these guys, especially in like the final 6,
Sure.
final 7, is that like we're actually moving. We're
Exactly.
walking
Do
around,
you
we're doing
think?
stuff.
Do you think your profession has something to do with
You
the
did a
fact
surgical
that you had more
residency.
endurance than the others?
Just doing a surgical residency makes you
I
a
mean,
survivor,
that's
Joy.
great.
And
I
yes,
think
of
so.
course. I mean, it's like, we're. I said to Jeff at some point, didn't make it. I was like, I think right after that first challenge, he's like, "Dr. Mike, how do you feel?" Like when we got fired, I was like, the healers are badasses. You know, like, yeah, like we, like you never give up and you just sort of keep moving and keep moving. And maybe it's because I'm older. Maybe it's because they had more
Right.
meat on me, so to speak, to like more energy reserves. There's a 6-pack under there somewhere. I think. But I just, yeah, like I didn't have a lack of energy out there most of the time.
Right.
I remember one morning I woke up and I started running up and down the beach. People, like Ashley was like, "Why are you running?" It's like, just because I can.
Save that energy.
So
Just
funny.
to show you guys that I'm not dead yet.
Exactly. How
So
does
then, what would be your hardest part of the game then? What do you think out of it all now that you're out? What would
The
you say?
loneliness. There's
Really?
nobody you can trust. When bad shit happens out there, you want to call your wife. Like,
Sure.
I've been married for like 16 years, and it's like you want to be like, you can't believe this just happened. And you know what? The reason I did vote for Christy, and one of the big reasons I voted for Christy was because she gave me that opportunity to have my wife with me on the island.
Yeah, that was nice.
Barry was able to walk through the camp with me and like meet everybody.
Oh wow!
And now she feels like she lived this experience with me.
That's
Oh,
nice.
And
that's
that-
very nice.
You can't take that away,
Mhm.
right? And there's like, to come back and try to explain to her what living on the camp was.
It's
She would
hard.
never understand.
No.
But she got to see me devouring apple pie and being like, "Mike, there's an ant in there."
I don't know. What was it? Were there like? Were you ever felt like there was going to be a snake on you or spiders
I
and
know
stuff
that's the
like that?
part.
Well, the scariest part is
I would have died. That I don't.
the scariest part is the water snakes. So there are
I
these
would've
water
killed
snakes
myself.
that are poisonous
God.
and they have no antidote. But the saving grace they say is, well, they don't have fangs, so they can only bite you on very thin skin, like between your toes, between your fingers. and
That's
towards you.
enough to make me say, please vote me
Yeah.
off
But they
tonight.
kill you. I mean, if they bite you, they kill you. So, right before we start the game, they do like a little video of you. And so as I sit down on the rock to do a video, they're like, "Oh my God, that's the biggest water snake right behind you that we've ever seen."
Did
It was
you, like, jump a
4
foot?
foot long water snake. Yeah, I was like, "Oh, like you're
Are
killing
you
me!" Like,
serious?
so I'm still petrified of water snakes.
Yeah.
And then like you go into the water to like they talk about aqua dumping.
Yeah.
So guys are naked and they're in the water and they're going to the bathroom, and you're thinking like,
Oh, that's a
there's
nice word
another
for it.
thin area of skin that like this
It
water
gets
snake.
you.
Can you imagine like I
Oh,
died
no.
from being
Bit in
on
the
my
penis.
like or like on the scrotum? Like I died from a snake biting my scrotum. Like
Oh.
that would suck. How
That
does
would
my
be
wife
bad.
explain that to my kids?
And you're
Yeah.
a
Well, Dad-
urologist. That would be a sin. That would be a fate,
Yeah,
like,
I
you
mean,
know, twist of fate.
It would
I
be
don't know.
so
Like,
appropriate.
like what? You all went to the bathroom in that water?
I mean, it's the ocean.
I don't care what it
water
is.
in the ocean.
That's disgusting.
Oh.
Yeah, but you have to make sure
Yeah,
the
Amy, I don't
tide's
think
going
this is for
out
us.
and like you're going the wrong way.
What
So,
are you
like,
gonna
it doesn't
survive? You
float
break a
back at
nail?
you. I mean,
I don't know how you did it. I really don't, because I would have never. If I would walking down the street, you would have not been the
if
guy I
you go to
picked
the
out.
bathroom in the ocean, you'll never not want to go to the bathroom in the oceon again.
Really?
I
Yeah, I mean,
gotta
it's
pass
actually-
on that one.
Amazingly satisfying.
I think
Very
that's
satisfying.
grounds for divorce. I have to be on. Honey, let's go to the beach today, and we go aqua dumping. I don't think that would
I
go
like the
well.
word,
I do.
yeah.
I enjoy the word. I will
Instead
use
of
that
shitting
again.
in the ocean.
There you
we're
go.
aqua dumping.
We're aqua dumping. It's very, very attractive. We'll go aqua dumping next weekend. Could you imagine? Seriously, I can't believe that. So, what was the hardest thing for you, other than not seeing your family? What was the hardest thing? Not aqua dumping, obviously.
No, I mean, I think it wasn't like I'm used to being hungry. I'm used to, like, you know. So I went in that you asked me about rules, and this will
Yeah.
lead into what the hardest part was. You know, I talk a lot, but it's hard not to speak your mind,
Right.
right? It's hard to like, you know. Jeff Probst said to me at some point, like during my interview process, so one of the cast, I think the president of CBS at the time, was complimenting me, and I started saying something. Jeff Probst was like, "Wait, Mike. You remember the word wait. Why am I talking?" And Jeff Probst nailed me right on the head. I was like, how did you just do that? I told my wife. She's like, Jeff Probst knows how to read people. Because you have to always remember the word, why am I talking?
There you go.
And just let these people implode on themselves. Let them go crazy. Let them speak. Only speak when you need to say something. And be wise with your words. My wife says I have verbal diarrhea.
That's all right.
So I'm not
I enjoy
good
that
with
though.
Amy does too. So
Yes,
you
I
guys
do.
will get along.
Well, we're healers. That's why. What I have to ask a question about Cole and Jessica.
Uh-huh.
Like, what did that ever turn into anything?
I don't know. You're gonna have to
She's
bring
kind of
Jessica
like
on
a
here.
deer in the
You'll
headlight.
have
The
to
poor
bring Jessica
thing.
on here and ask her. I guess.
So
She's a nurse
innocent.
practitioner.
I know. So sweet though.
Yeah,
Unlike
no,
me.
she's awesome.
She's a very sweet girl. She's kind of like this boy. She's very naive. It's so cute.
But the boy is. The funny thing about Cole,
He was just really good looking. That's why she liked him.
I mean, he's nice, he's smart, he's good looking, but he wasn't always that way. And so Cole is also this sort of like naive, shy kid.
Right.
And, you know, who's just like, who all of a sudden now became like this like
Hot dog.
really hot guy.
Yeah.
And so like he's sort of just out there. And I feel like Cole will eventually like come into his own,
Right.
but he's still very young.
He's with Devin. He's barely circumcised, the poor thing. He's
Yeah.
so young, 22
Uh-huh.
years old.
Like Jessica, when Jessica got voted out, Cole would sit on the island and talk about how he was going to move to her town.
Aw.
I'm not. It's like he really liked her.
Oh, I like that. That's a nice boy then. I'm
Nice
okay
boy.
with that. I'm all right with that. How was Devin? Was he a nice guy or was
I mean,
he?
I think Devin was my closest ally on the
Okay.
island,
Okay.
and they don't see it because it didn't. Because
Does
we
the
ended up-
editing portion bother you? How they edited?
I mean, I'm fine with how they
Okay.
edited me. I'm happy. Like they edited me as this quirky, funny guy, which I
you
think
are.
I am.
Yeah.
And was I?
Very likable. Very likable.
I'm clearly more strategic than they edited me as,
Okay.
right? But at the same time, I get it. I only made it to 5. If I made it to 4, I made it to 3, I think they would have been showing my strategy much more.
Yeah.
But Devin and I, at like, so I told you Ashley came up to me
Right.
right before the Statue of Liberty thing. Devin came up to me there as well, separately, and said, "We're going to be in a secret alliance if you get through this vote." And from the next day, I think it is, we sat at the well, and I told him how everybody was going to go home, and I told him that, you know, essentially order and how it was going to work. And it worked in that exact order, except Ben never went home.
I know.
So Ben, but like
Ben
the
bombs.
second, the person that would happen like before Ben would go, like I would say it would be Ben and then Lauren. And so Ben didn't go home, so
But
it was
Lauren.
Lauren. I was like, it was going to be, you know, and then after Lauren, it was going to be Ashley. But you know, obviously, then Ben came back, and it wasn't Ben. It was, you know, it was Ashley. Like it was my order, except Ben never left.
Right.
Wow.
And so there was definitely strategy there.
Yeah.
It just like my plan had been to get me to the final 5 with Devin and Ashley and Christy and Ryan.
Yeah, I was bowled
and
over
at that point, I knew I was
when
good.
Ash went and when Lauren went. I was very surprised at those two. I was very, very surprised. Is Lauren as tough as she was on the show?
Lauren's awesome.
Yeah.
Lauren, so during the hurricane that
She made
came
me
here
cry.
the other day, like a few months ago,
Yeah.
Lauren called me, and Lauren is a fisherwoman. She's a handyman. She does gardening.
Yeah.
She does whatever. She's a true hustler that does
Right.
whatever she can do
to make
to
a
make
buck.
a living.
Right.
She called me and said, Mike, if anything happens to your house, if you need anything, I will drive down here. You're not going to pay me. I'm going to fix everything that you have.
Oh, how
Yeah,
nice.
she
And it
seems
was
like
like,
that kind of
yeah.
gal.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, she
She's
seems
amazing.
like that kind of gal.
And, she has this, beautiful daughter.
Yeah.
It's great. Like at the finale, my kids and her kids played together.
Oh, that's
Like
so
her
nice.
kids slept in my kids' room every night.
Oh, that's so
Oh,
nice.
I like
that
that.
that makes me happy. I have to
The
tell you
Survivor
that.
family, with this whole Parkland thing, you have the Survivor family has reached out to me so much. I love you guys so
That's
much.
fantastic.
That, like, I mean, more like it's
That's
like
cool.
we talked about, like my co-ed fraternity in college, like more so than anybody in my fraternity did. Like, and these are like my brothers, so to speak, right?
That's
Like
so
the
nice.
Survivor family, it's a small, close-knit community,
That's so
and
nice.
we all really do like each other. So I called Morgan, who's going to be on season 36, and said, "Can you help the kids? Like, can you help bring some of the kids to SeaWorld to just try to get their mind off of things?"
Oh,
No, that's
And
nice,
so
Mike.
tomorrow we have buses driving up to SeaWorld
Oh,
to spend the
I
day for
love
free at
that.
SeaWorld, and then from there they're going to take buses to Tallahassee.
I want you to tell
Oh,
yeah.
see, we were
I
talking
tell
about
everybody
that,
what
the
you did
Tallahassee.
as far as like when the incident happened.
Sure. I mean, obviously, we're trying to move on.
Right.
But
Mhm.
clearly, I come from Parkland. You come from Parkland.
Right.
Parkland is never going to move on
No.
here.
No.
And we, you hear my wife texted me, turned on the TV in my office, and there's an active shooter at the school that's
A mile from my
literally
house.
2 to 3 blocks away from my
Yeah,
office.
right.
I mean, if that, and I, put down everything I was doing. We locked the office because
We
who knows
know
where the
where
shooter
we were,
was.
right.
Right.
And I ran to my car and I just drove to the trauma center, and from there I helped. You know what I mean? You go up to the head trauma surgery, and I said, "What can I do to help?" He's like, "I'm wheeling somebody up right now.
Let's
Come
go.
operate with me."
And you did.
And I did, and unfortunately, not everybody there
Survived.
survived. I helped friends that were looking for their kids there, and
That's
unfortunately, again, not all of them were found.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
it's you do what you have to do
You
to
do.
help your community, and so it's I'm sure at some point there will be a survivor-based fundraiser.
Good.
In the Parkland area. I
Good.
think there, again, so many of these people are like, just tell me the day and the time. We will have a reality
And Mike,
event.
we'll
And-
absolutely advertise it for you and push it
Yes.
and
Thank
stuff
you.
like
Yes.
that.
I mean, it's like
You all
anything
can
to
come
raise.
on.
Like, we want to. I don't know if money's the issue or not, because we're dealing with Parkland
Yeah.
families, and Parkland is
An
a very
affluent
good
commu-
community,
right.
like very affluent community.
But I don't think it's just
But
that.
it's awareness.
It's a morale and
And
awareness.
it's exactly, and it's morale, and it's I think that these Parkland kids have been a shining light to the generation.
Absolutely. I mean,
And
you hear
it's-
them speak on television, how
They
amazing
speak
they
wonderfully. Like, these are kids that are well educated, have their futures paid for them to go to these Ivy League schools,
Absolutely.
or other schools, and
And that's what I'm saying. I
this
think
is-
that this group of kids
are.
can
Going to make
actually
a
get it
difference.
done.
I agree. I think I've seen tweets go on saying, like, whatever political party these kids form, I'm joining that one.
Exactly.
And it's
It's
like
the future, and
That's
it's a
right.
good future.
they are the
That's right.
future. Like, I think I tweeted today that, listen, the millennial generations, the wheel of time turns, and the millennial generations becomes the Parkland generation.
Absolutely.
Like, these kids are like speaking their mind, and
think-
I think they will march on Washington.
Oh, I
Yes.
do.
And I think they
I'm
will
going.
make change.
I'm going.
And like I guess the governor, supposedly the president, the Rubio, these people that are super, like, that have taken money from the NRA,
Right.
I guess, are coming to listen to them. They realize that they have to listen to them.
Well, this is
Yes.
not only their future constituency, but their parents are their constituency.
Right.
And it's they have to listen. Everybody has to listen because it's time for change in policy, and it's important. I mean, right down to bullying and reporting, and not making the bully the victim anymore. I think these are the things that everybody has to look at.
I mean, I think, there's so much about guns and, gun regulation and gun reform, and that I've sort of tried to take a different angle on it and said, I think at some point social media the social media platforms have to take responsibility.
I absolutely agree.
And so when you look at this kid's post on Instagram, Instagram knows those posts. When
Right.
I
I
search
said the
for-
same thing.
YouTube is owned by Google. And when I search for a watch or a vacation or
Anything.
rings to practice for Survivor, it's going to come up on my computer at home, my computer at
Absolutely.
work, on my phone. They know what I do and when.
Right.
So instead of when kids are posting or looking for guns or looking for smoke bombs or looking how to make bombs, and kids are posting, I'm
should
going to
be
be the next
alert.
school shooter, people need to be being alerted. And it's true, people were alerted with this case.
In this
But
situation, but
were they
most of
alerted
the
by
time,
YouTube?
no.
Probably not.
No.
Right.
And, there's,
No, the healthcare professional, the school, the students, and the system failed everyone.
right.
Right.
And I think, it goes to the same thing with like Snapchat, right? Like Snapchat, it was a joke, but it's really not a joke. I would always say to people, like, Snapchat was basically created for people to send nude pictures to each other, right? So they could get, they could get rid of them.
Exactly.
But you know what? Like, when my kids are on Snapchat, and and we all know kids are making up ages and
Of
making up
course.
IDs to get more, to get what they call
I
finstas,
know.
fake Instagrams. Then it's like, at some point, Instagram has to take control of that.
Right.
And just like when you hit that button and ears come on your head
Right.
or glasses come on your head, can they do a program to make sure that young kids are not sending pornographic pictures?
Well, I agree with you
they
on
know
that.
what the body parts look like.
We had this discussion about Facebook. When Facebook, if you sing a song that you're not licensed to be able, they'll shut you down.
Really?
Or,
Oh,
they shut
yeah.
you down and they can fine you. You go, it's like
Look at that,
Facebook
see?
police. So if you're shutting me down because I'm singing a rap song, you're not shutting me down because I'm showing you a video that I'm going to kill somebody or myself.
Right.
Like it's really weird to me.
That's crazy.
really
It's
weird to me.
crazy. And it's,
And that's
and
and
they
you bring
hide-
up a great point because this is the one area no one's touching on. It's
Right.
all about it's the president's fault. It's politics. It's the state. It's the
law
governor.
enforcement,
It's the
whatever.
law enforcement. But you're right. This is where these kids live on social media. That's where they broadcast everything.
Exactly. I mean, we do too, for God's
Right.
sake.
I know.
You know.
But we need social media. Social media
Needs to be responsible.
Regulate, I mean, what I would say is they need to regulate themselves, or they're going to end up being regulated. In the infertility world,
Exactly.
we said, I went to a meeting probably 12 years ago now or something, and the IVF doctor stood up there and said, yeah, we can have octomoms, where we can put 8 embryos in, but we don't because it's bad for the babies, it's bad for the mom,
mothers.
and it's bad for the entire healthcare system because of the amount of money it costs to raise these kids because they're all in the NICU for
Right.
months. And
It's a
we
burden.
don't do it anymore. And in Europe, actually, I think in England, you're only allowed to place 1 embryo.
Right.
And so it's like, they regulated themselves. They said, we're going to either be regulated by the
Exactly.
government or regulate ourselves. And I think the Googles of the world, the Snapchats of the world,
I agree
the
with you
Instagrams of the world,
1,000%.
I mean, it's coming. I've
Right.
spoken to the congressman.
Absolutely.
It's coming. I would, if I were you guys, I would
I'd
come up
jump,
with a plan.
jump the shark.
And, right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Come up with a plan and say, this is what we're going to do to change. Because if the government comes and regulates you, no one's going to like it.
No, and then who wants that? You
Right.
know, and then we get into a whole web of paying for it now
Right,
and being
freedom of
taxed
speech
on
thing,
it.
Yeah.
it's like,
And
this
that's the whole
isn't a-
thing.
And this is not a freedom of speech
And
thing.
thank you. I don't want people to hide behind the amendments. And amendments were made to be amended.
Right.
That's
Right.
the whole thing. You know, this is not 1776 where we're walking around with muskets now
Exactly.
trying to protect ourselves. It's a whole different
Right.
ballgame. Nobody, and no one is saying to anybody, you can't do this and you can't do that. You have to be responsible. And since you can't be responsible,
Right. I mean,
somebody has
clearly
to be responsible.
Talk
cannot,
about
right.
the Second Amendment, for instance, and the Second Amendment was created by a guy
Right.
who had supposedly 100 slaves,
Right.
who had a son that was arrested multiple times
Thank you.
for shooting
Thank
people.
you.
for shooting incidents. I can't find out if it's actually at people,
Right.
but he was
Or
arrested
just
for a shooting incident.
Wild guy with the gun.
And it's like, well, maybe even back then this was a mistake.
Right.
No, but that's what I'm
know.
trying to say.
It's like
You know,
everything in regulation, everything in moderation. We need moderation. So people have said to me, because I tweeted that, and people said, "Oh well, evil will find a way," but
but I'm not sure that evil is always the case.
we don't have to make it easy for them to find a way.
Right.
And although, everybody has the right to defend themselves,
Right.
I feel like you don't necessarily, like, what I said on social media, I was like, you also have the right to have a pet. You can have a pet dog. You can't have a pet lion.
Right.
Like, there's
Exactly.
reasons.
Yes.
We don't drive tanks to school.
Not yet.
Because-
Not yet.
Because
Not yet.
it's just not reasonable.
They need it.
The Hummers were
Reasonable.
close,
Yeah.
but that was it.
We want reasonable things.
And I don't
People
think
need to
that
be
right.
reasonable.
Right.
I mean, back in the day, there were certain things that
So
all men were created equal. That did not include women or men of color. Obviously, we've changed that.
Right.
The same thing with that law. You have the right to bear arms. Well, maybe not.
Somebody said to me, "Are you going to ban forks for making me fat? So the utensils that I
I
used to
know.
eat
I
forks
was
fat."
gonna blame us for
And
that.
I said, you know what?
No, because you could. Lift
I
it off
don't
the
wrap
plate.
my fork in barbed wire
Exactly.
because it's better to pick up food with it, right? I'm sure that would be easier to pick up food, but
Right.
nobody sells those, right?
Right.
It's the truth. No, and you're right. It's true. I mean, people are being ridiculous. No one,
Yeah, it's
everything,
That's what
like you said,
happens.
everything in
Goes from one
moderation.
extreme
You-
to
right,
another.
but I'll tell you, like, I don't need to talk about gun reform. I don't want to talk
No,
about
it
gun
No.
reform
has
because
nothing to do with
these
that.
kids have done it for us. These
Mhm.
kids have gone up there and said, it's not my voice. It's not like it's their fight. They want to fight it,
Right.
and
I say
they're
go ahead.
there are more of them than me.
Thank you.
It's like in a democracy, we do what the people want,
Right.
and it seems to me that this is what the people want.
Exactly.
And
I agree.
the people are these kids.
Listen,
I think it's
it's
time.
fantastic
I do.
that they're passionate about it and they're actually going to go forward with
and
something
maybe
that
they
has
will get off
meaning.
social media.
Yeah, exactly.
And do something that's good, or get away from the video games. But I think it makes one, and that's really cool that you and when did what you did, and Survivor's going to be in behind that. I just
Thank
love
you.
it.
We got to get back to the All Stars question.
Yes,
We
she
kinda
wants to
skated
know,
over that.
You
Have
gotta
you
you
been
gotta let us know.
approached?
What about the All Star
mean, so-
situation?
So the thing is that I don't know if my wife would let me go. Like my wife loves me. My office really missed me
I
when I
bet.
was gone. Like,
What did you
it's
do
a-
with all your patients?
well, I have 4 partners.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
my patients got distributed. I think my
Okay.
partners loved the fact that I left because they got all my patients.
There you go.
I started the practice 12 and a half years ago.
Okay.
I specialized in infertility and sexual dysfunction, but because you can't just start a practice while you specialize,
Sure.
I was the first guy to do robotic urologic surgery, so like robotic
Cool.
medical prostatectomies in Broward and Palm Beach County. I built this practice, and we now have 3 offices. We see over
Congratulations.
500 people a week
I
in the
see your
offices.
building when I'm driving on the highway. Z Urology.
We have a couple of them.
I
There's one
know.
on Federal as well. And it's when I leave, my patients get distributed between the other 4 docs, and
Okay.
so they sort of, I think, really like it. But my office manager though, like, she needs me to help run the office, and it's not like I have a phone where I can be texting her back and forth over there.
I
It's
know.
See, that
so
part to me,
because-
the out of touch,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
with no
Stress.
No
Stress.
phone,
That would
no
make me
nothing.
Well,
stressed.
you know what? At the beginning, it was
talk to
stressful, but
someone.
then it became so. When you realized that you can't leave, you're not going home, and you're just out there no matter what, then it became really fun.
Really.
The lack of communication, except for with your family, became.
Yeah, that had to
It's
be.
I
I
wouldn't
mean,
be
for your
imagining
wife
fighting.
and your
Yeah.
kids, that had to be very hard.
For
Because
the
that's,
wife and kid,
that's a long
kids, it was
time.
very hard. You know
Yeah.
what? My kids, I don't know how hard it was. My wife, it was really hard. And she felt like
If
I
we're
had
being
done it,
honest
right?
here.
She went
That
from
is
like
so
we
fun.
speak to each other like 12 times a day, at least. And she felt like, she said she had never slept so much because we usually stay up at night and like
You-
we'll watch like a TV show,
Right.
we'll do
Hang
something,
out.
right? Like,
Do your business.
Get busy.
you never
Get
know.
busy with the reproductive organs. Good.
But she would just go to bed. She was like, I was going to sleep at like 10, 11 o'clock at night now.
Aw.
So,
She's so
I mean-
cute too. She's so adorable. You make such a cute
but
couple.
my
bet it
kids
would be
go
hard
into
to
high
see.
school, and like next year, my kids
Okay.
start high school. So it's like, if I was gonna really do it again, maybe now would be the time. But
Yeah.
but they have to have it all. So many things have to fall into place. First, I have to be asked. Second, they have to have the right season.
Right.
Third, My
You
wife
were a
has to let
fan
me.
favorite, though. I have to say, I get a lot of people. I'm telling you, one of my students, I thought she was gonna explode. She loved you.
I liked, I liked the quote that Jeff said, like, I love Dr. Mike. I would play it on my, on my computer at work. Whenever anybody, like, knew would come to my office, I'd just start playing it. I love Dr. Mike. I love Dr. Mike. I love Dr. Mike.
That is so fun. You have to do me one favor. Can you say hi to Christine Martin? Because she, like, loves you.
Hi, Christine Martin.
Thank you. That's you don't get an A for class, but you got Dr. Mike to say hi to you. So one of my students, she asked me if you would say hi to her. 'Cause she really liked
Christine,
you.
what are you studying?
She's nursing. She's going to be a nurse.
All right.
A bachelor's.
Come to the office
prepared.
and be a
A
come,
urology nurse.
well, yeah, come, do an internship or something at the office.
Oh, all right. I'll tell her.
I'm
She's gonna
happy
join.
to have people come and do internships, but you see crazy things in my office.
That's her. Well,
I mean, like,
I could imagine there's a lot of penises.
well,
flying
they call
around
them
in there,
dick
no?
docs. Did you know that?
there were a lot of
Just
pieces that
saying.
go around my office. I had, I have.
Do you
these
do
kids-
women too as well? Not like do them. Do you like take care of women?
I do. I mean, I do. Like,
Clarify that.
my fellowship was in male infertility, male and female sexual dysfunction.
Okay.
So, the female sexual dysfunction field is huge. I don't do a ton of it
Okay.
because there's so much male sexual
Sure.
dysfunction. But
You got to come back on and
Hey.
talk about that.
okay, anytime.
I know.
Anytime. Do you know that I'm I'm actually really excited about it because I'm
Tell
the
me.
first guy. So I'm the first guy in America to publish on the use of biologics in humans for sexual dysfunction.
Get out of the city.
So like, you talk about stem cell medicine and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like, I'm the first guy to actually publish something on it in America in humans. Like,
Oh,
so it was done in a lot of
cool.
animals. One study ran in Singapore, and then have you ever heard of Peyronie's disease?
Yes.
So
No.
I'm the first
Oh,
guy
she
in the
didn't.
world.
I'm a nurse.
I'm the
basically,
non-medical person
get-
over here.
You get scar tissue that forms in your penis, and like a keloid that forms, and it's like, I'm the first guy in the world to publish on it, and so there were all these people that were like, oh well, I don't know, like it's just Mike like came up with this thing, there are
So
always going
cool.
to be people jealous, there are always going to be
Yeah.
haters out there, but now actually the International Society of Sexual Medicine in the end of this month, beginning of next month, somebody else is presenting an independent study. The president of the Florida Urologic Association,
Cool.
Raphael Carrion, is presenting an
Congratulations,
independent study
that's
on the use
wonderful.
of my amniotic fluid product, ProFlow.
No
Yeah, so
way.
it's like, you could say it's me, but it's not just me now. We have people all over the country doing this.
Congratulations.
using my
That's very
stuff, and-
awesome.
Yeah.
You must be proud.
How smart is this guy?
See,
or
go to
what?
college. Go to Brown. That's what happened.
It's like,
I-
it's called like ProFlow amniotic fluid, but it's like, yes, it is very exciting that not just am I helping people here, but like you try to expand it
Yeah.
to the world.
I
Right?
want
And
a
that's
job
what-
now. I'm a nurse practitioner.
That's
I
what
want
you
to come
try-
work
well,
with you.
you could. I mean, really. Fine. I'm sure you have something
I'm
you do
critical
already.
care. I'm critical care. I teach.
Yeah,
I
so,
teach now.
I mean, I think there is a lack of female. We need somebody to do female sexual dysfunction.
Yes, we
therapy.
do. Trust me.
There's, I'm happy to help. If you wanted to set up a clinic, I am happy to be the doctor that.
I
supports
love
you with
him. I think I have to tell you, wife's lucky. I like that. We're going to talk,
It-
Mike. I have a lot of
Okay.
ideas.
that. I mean, it's funny. Female sexual dysfunction. It's a lot about the hormones. It's a lot about lubrication, but most of it is so easy to treat. But the first step, Bob Dole came on television for men, and all of a sudden it became okay for men
Right.
to have erectile dysfunction. Women are it's still not okay for women to have sexual
I know.
dysfunction.
We have to be quiet
But
about it.
but what's interesting about it, on a little bit of its tangent here, it is okay for women to use vibrators and toys to enhance their sexual pleasure.
Right.
But nobody really talks about men and the toys that they use for their sexual pleasure.
True.
Men, it's just expected
Lorian
that they
does.
use their hands. Right?
That's right.
No, I don't believe you. Did.
No, she
Oh,
talks
yeah.
about it.
You talk about fleshlights?
No,
do you know what
no,
a
we don't
fleshlight
talk
is?
about
I
that.
did know. I do not talk about
See-
that.
See, I bet those guys know what fleshlights are. If not, they're Googling it right now.
I'm going to
They're
Google
not
it.
going to
What is
admit
this?
that. They're like,
Yeah,
well, I'm not
see?
admitting what a flashlight is.
How do you
What a
spell
flashlight.
that?
Flesh.
Flesh.
Like flash, like a
Like
flash.
your flesh.
Yeah.
It's a play on something else. That's what I'm talking
No,
about.
but it's like, we went to Brookstone once, and they're selling these women's vibrators behind the counter.
Yeah,
They're
I
like,
know.
like somehow it's okay. At Brookfield
Pocket
to sell it.
size. You could take it with you on
Yeah,
vacation.
Like,
So
you could, like, be in car line at school. Like, just like,
Hey, you know, you got to pass the
I know
sign.
Hey,
people
whatever
do
keeps people
That's
happy.
what
I'm
I'm
all
saying.
for it.
like,
No, it's very. You have
Right?
to come back on, and we'll talk
Yes.
about that.
Okay.
This is a
Besides
whole other
Savaya,
show.
it's a whole other show we got
Yeah.
going
One
on
I
here.
will enjoy as
But
well.
I really want to appreciate. I really appreciate that you coming on. But I would love if your Survivor compadres do something for Parkland. I would love to have them on. We would love to have them on and showcase the whole Parkland
Absolutely,
thing.
yes.
Because I think
Absolutely.
that would be important. That's
Absolutely.
pretty
I mean,
much.
Survivor for survivors. And then
Yes.
I'm like, you know, I think I'm emceeing the walk, like the Relay for Life in Parkland.
Get out! Good for
In
you.
April, and it's like,
We go to that all the time.
that's what you come.
Yeah, we go to that all the time.
But it's like all of a sudden it takes on a whole new meaning. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it's like,
yeah.
It's like the Relay for Life. It's
Mhm.
you know,
Where are you doing it? Is that Monarch this year?
it's at Westglades.
Westglades. Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll be there.
It used to
We're
be
all
at
there.
Summit.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just the whole.
I know.
I don't see. You know, the reality is, as you know, Parkland is a very small community, but we're really a family.
Yeah.
And like,
Mhm.
there are very few people that don't know each other, or, I mean, there's nobody in Parkland that doesn't have a 1 degree of separation
Exactly.
Right.
than anybody else. And they came into our house with a machine gun and they shot my family members.
Exactly.
And
And I think
I
they
don't think any of us are
picked the
gonna
wrong
stop
town. No,
until-
they picked the wrong town this time.
Yeah, until things are changed.
I agree. I agree. Well, I don't know how to thank you for taking the time out of your busy day.
Yeah,
I'm so glad that
enjoyed
you're
it.
back stateside and safe and not ill. Did you get sick afterward?
From what?
I don't know. I have one question before we close the show. When you ate at the challenges, didn't you have diarrhea afterward? I would have
I
been.
mean, I'll tell you when you had diarrhea, when you had no food and all you were doing was drinking coconut
Yeah.
water,
All right.
and so you get
Oh.
what we call the cocoa butts.
Yeah. And the coconut, they did a
Right,
thing with
right,
coconut.
The coconuts and the cocoa
So you had
butts.
cocoa butts.
And that was bad.
I bet that was
But
bad.
then you stop doing it. Then like, you know, the dry coconut, like, so you don't want to drink then like the dry coconut, it starts scratching the back of your
Yeah.
throat. You're like, no more coconut.
Exactly.
But yeah, besides that, no, I didn't.
You didn't get
sick.
diarrhea. I just was
No, I
thinking,
have a
my
stomach
stomach
of
was
steel.
hurting just watching you guys eat, and they were chowing down,
Yeah.
and I'm like, they haven't eaten in so long, and we all were like, diarrhea. They have to be.
I'll tell you, it's such a classic thing. So like my wife said to me, and it's like the simple strategy. She's like, when you get to the merge feast, and all these things, there's always alcohol.
Yeah,
It's like because they want you to be drunk.
of course.
And it would be a different game if they put alcohol on the island all the time. It would be like Temptation
Oh
Island.
my God.
I mean, I think more people would like. A
You
lot of
fit
people watch
right in,
Survivor,
Morgan.
but a lot more would watch it if there was alcohol all the time.
Of course.
Especially with the new cast coming up, which is like this super hot young cast.
Yeah,
But so like, I had one drink and that was it.
yeah.
Like you haven't eaten anything. You have one
Yeah, it
drink.
must have hit you like a ton
Devin-
of bricks.
Devin
Like-
was done.
Drink after drink after drink. He stands up in the middle of like our merge feast. He's like, "I have a toast." Camera's all on him,
And that was it.
and then he went and vomited.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Ridiculous.
Oh my God.
Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, just
So, who do
Classic.
you think is a fan favorite? Who do you think was the most fan favorite?
Lauren. Lauren
Yeah,
was a
she was
surprising
very-
fan favorite.
she was.
Everybody loved Lauren.
You know who everybody hated?
Chrissy.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know how you
Yeah.
feel.
It's a,
Oh, she did not like her at
Made
all.
that clear.
Did not like her. I mean, if she comes on, I'll be very nice. I didn't
Ah.
like her. Didn't
You know,
like
I-
her. She was not nice. I'm sure she's nice in real life. I'm saying as a game player, she was not nice.
yeah. I mean, she definitely had her moments, but she's like a gamer, and so the question is that if she was
It took her
a
16 years to
man-
get on the show,
yeah,
so
if
she was
a
like,
man and played that same game, would people still have hated her?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
they would. I didn't like Ben either.
Yeah.
Ben bombing, I didn't care for it at all. Sorry, didn't like him. Got to be honest with you. I mean, I'm sure he's a lovely man, but I didn't care for him on the show, in the game, the way they played.
Uh huh.
I think everybody liked Lauren because she was tough and she was kind and she was really morally sound, as you were. I was
Yeah,
really impressed with that. I really was.
Yeah, I think she was funny.
She was funny.
You know that line? I think people remember that line when she was like when Jeff Probst's like, the whole world wants to know who would marry Dr. Mike, and my wife comes out there, and she was like, I would, and Lauren's like, God bless you.
Exactly. She said, God bless you. I don't know how you do it. You're a survivor.
That's Lauren, right?
Yeah.
It's like that, like dry, sort of very well.
But you could see how that she's a kind person. Like
Yeah.
even you can tell that what kind of person she is out of the game. You know what I mean?
And she is. I mean, they're all nice, but Lauren is amazing.
Yeah, she just strikes that way. So Lauren, this is a shout out to you. I liked you too. But again, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy day and getting back to life.
No, thank you.
No,
It's my
dude,
pleasure,
you are
Connie.
like you're
Anytime.
so awesome. Really, I really appreciate your
Thank-
time.
it's my-
Can I give you a kiss?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Okay.
Who doesn't take a kiss?
Normally
I
she
mean,
just
for
does
anybody.
it without
Yeah,
asking.
usually
so
I
the
just
fact that she asked
jump
was
right
very
on
nice.
them, right, guys? But not you because you're too young. But Blake and I have a thing going on. What can I say? Other than that, I want to thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I want to thank Dr. Mike again for watching. Lorian and I want to wish you a good night, and we will see you next week.
Monday. Have a
live.
great week,
Have a great
everybody.
week.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for joining the Two Broads from Boca. You can see us live every Monday at 7 p.m. on Facebook. See you next week, and remember, keep it classy, sassy, and a little smartassy.